Hello friends, Bopru here. More stone action for you. This is actually Red White Humans against Esper Aggro, um, but you see us siding out after the match that was previously accomplished, which is against Blue-Red Tempo. So some removals, some counters were brought in from Blue-Red, and sensors and neonates were taken out. I hope you got some glimpse of what Red White Humans did against Blue Red Tempo. But this is a tape with Red White Aggro against Esper Aggro. Basically, your blue white vehicles splashing for Scrounger, and I think in this build for just a couple black cars, like 2 Saurians in the sideboard, and that's pretty much it. I basically took the list of a guy who finished in top 4 in Amsterdam. The only change I made was instead of 2 declarations in the sideboard, I used what was it? 1 extra Soaring and 1 Harvester, something like that. But actually, for a team event this past weekend, I've used the build that ended up second in Manila GP. So that was having actually quite a heavy black splash. It even had the 1 blue black cycle end over 1 blue white, and it had a shambling vent instead of again another blue white cycle land, and it had fatal push in there, and it had surprise Calitus as a singleton on the side, and then 2 fatal push, but only 1 soaring, which is probably correct. And that build also has only 1 flagship, which is probably fine too because of the legendary, even though I kind of like them in a lot of temp or aggro matchups. And I think I would even bring it in against Marvel, because you have a lot of stuff to deal with Marvel and what it brings to the table, but sometimes when you try to play it safe, you just die to random 2/2s and 3/2s and 2/3s and 1/1s, so yeah. I think it's correct to bring in maybe even Soren too, but I'm not sure about Fatal Push, but I would probably bring in Declaration and Stone too, I think, against Marvel decks and negates. So it's hard to say what am I supposed to take out. Possibly a bunch of 2-drops. Perhaps just not Scrounger, because it has a lot of synergies. Okay, I think that's the 2-1 human. Is it? Possibly. Yeah, the Zendikar and Jekyll Pup. My turn 1 was a Inspector, which basically shuts down that 2-1, unless there would be some pumps or some ways to pump, like that Captain, I think, the multicolor card. Okay, here is Inspector of his own and the pass, so I suppose he's just trying to use it. Okay, it's just the autofocus flashing in. So basically just letting you know right here, if I would notice a bunch of those flickering because of readjusted autofocus, I will cut some parts of the game and make the tape shorter so that you don't see that kind of stuff all that often. Okay, after this. Okay, let's see. So there's been an initiate, which so selfless here is a proxy of initiate, which I got later. This build just only played initiate and no selfless, but later I went to a 3-2 split, so that initiate got declaration installed. So that's why I have 2 clues on my side now. Here's the Sky Spawner. It's the kind of card that's been advocated by Pascal Minard. So he was in favor of that thing. I wasn't super impressed by it. It was just okay. But I didn't like it all that much. In this game, I believe it would have done really good. Not sure what's that. So he used up his energy because he needed a second away, and his third land is the Hinver, the one that speeds up creatures and sometimes merges with the free casting cut red human. So yeah, he cast Always Watch him, but still passed the 10 because he didn't have good attacks. Yeah, basically all the vehicle decks kind of, stop red-white pretty well. Not exactly sure what red-white is supposed to be good against. Definitely not black-green. Maybe just try to erase Marvel, but it's a hell of a annoying battle. Perhaps it's just better against zombies, maybe? I don't see how it would be overwhelming against Mardu, for example. Or this blue-white. Okay, so the sign helped me to actually cast again in here, because I bricked on 4th land. But because I still have a couple of clues, so my Spire is online, so yeah, it should be I should be alright. Okay, made a token, passed the turn. Could have attacked, but I don't know, like, maybe after I have more board presence, because I actually would want to protect Gideon here, because that's probably how I'm winning this game. So let's see what happens up next. Since he used up his energy, so he has pretty much 2 Careless lands now. That's pretty annoying. I kind of feel like this deck should not play the hubs at all. There's probably some Harness Lightning somewhere out there, but I don't know. Doesn't look great. Now I think he had Talia there. We will figure that out exactly soon. Okay, here's a Toolcraft, and what else? Is that just it? Oh, okay, I cracked a clue, played Toolcraft, played a land, and made another token and passed. I think in this position I probably could have attacked with the spawner just to start to cheap with that damage, because I'll have to start attacking at some point anyway. So yeah, the flickering comes from the fact that in that tape I forgot to untick the box about the autofocus. When you have so many gestures and so many hand movements and card movements in front of the camera, it's pretty bad to keep the autofocus on. It's okay just to adjust the way it looks at things. Let's say this way. Okay, still have one clue, so Toolcraft is alive. But that's about it. So it actually makes it a pretty decent attacker, but a very bad blocker in face of always watching. So that means that if anything, I should probably attack with the spawner and the toolcraft, because they're going to be pretty bad at blocking. And now he added the captain, so I actually want to start provoking him to, attack back, to trade resources. I'm on 5 lands here. I still have a clue, so I can, uh, widen the board and expand my position, etc. So yeah, Toolcraft spawner coming in. I really don't know what's correct. Not play the free drops, or play the spawner, or play Talia instead. None of the options seem particularly amazing. Though, Talia probably the most interesting one, but the thing is that the ground gets so clogged against zombies and against marble, so that maybe it's good to have an extra flyer. I think I would play spawners in the really tribal themed spirit stack with always watching, and this well, okay, the token wouldn't get the pump from the enchantment, but still. Oh yeah, I probably would play the spawners in the straight blue-white build, because then it makes the Westwell Abbey much better as well. So that's a thing. He's a bit choked on the colors. He didn't attack because he smelt the danger, which is Avacyn, which would have been just ridiculous here. But anyway, 6 power war for flyers next turn, so yeah. And I'm basically locking his ground by making Gideon tokens every turn. 4 mana. Okay, here's a cast out on the watching so that he doesn't really have insanely dangerous attacks or blocks or whatever. Yeah. So, what, he has 5 guys on board, but none of that really matters all that much. I don't know why red-white is a deck, really. It's efficient, it's consistent, but just doesn't seem all that great. Of course, Gideon is hell of a card that basically kept me alive in this matchup, but so many different flavors of white aggro decks are playing Gideon, so it's a thing. It is a thing. Okay, I actually made an emblem and decided that I'd rather not really chicken out about this Gideon, and instead just start on crushing. It also makes my clock, basically, instead of 3 turns or something, into 2-turn clock, basically. Yeah. He would need a miracle here. I have no idea why he does this here. Well, okay, actually I do, because it actually gets rid of 3 creatures. Okay, and because he had the second one anyway. So I get a second clue for that. Not for the tokens, of course. Alright. So he's still alive. But I think he needs to start attacking here, basically. Just with something. Then with the emblem, so my inspector is a 2/3, so it can trade with everything, basically. He doesn't have always watching anyway on his side, So yeah, my guy's actually trade into whatever he attacks with here. But I guess he has to just do this. I'm afraid that I don't have lethal. I think currently I don't. Oh no, I actually do. Okay, so because of that he uh, left one guy on defense. So yeah, makes a lot of sense for me here. Actually, I think to just trade with the captains. Just that's probably the safest play. Okay, sure. If I draw a removal spell, like I win straight ahead, but uh, this deck is not super removal heavy, I should say. It's just not that removal heavy. Okay, let's see what's gonna happen here. Yeah, the trades, I don't actually even take all that much damage, well, just 7. His board is significantly diminished. Okay, he can speed up a creature next turn, but that's not that big. And yeah, I still have 2 clues, so I still have a lot of action. And yeah, it's essentially a turn 3 clock with the spawner. But yeah, so those are initiates, by the way, so it's not like I have lethal next turn no matter what. Those are initiates and not selfless spirits. That's a thing. That is a thing. Alrighty then, here's another captain, but it's a bit too late to the party. Okay, technically speaking, I only have 1 flyer here. So I don't have lethal right now. But yeah, Gideon Emblem, another Gideon is a win. Okay, seems like I didn't quite draw it straight away. So I had to sacrifice a clue. Okay, and then I'm just exerting the initiates, which are impersonated by the selfless spirits. Okay, actually attacking with everything here, because he will, I think, have to trade with everything. Yeah. So that's pretty good for me. Actually, not exactly trade, because initiates will be like 5/5s and lifelink, so I'll gain a bunch. Let's just put it this way, I'll gain a bunch of life here. He probably just realized that he's not coming out from out of this, especially game 1. So we're moving on to the next game. And I suppose moving to sideboard 2. We'll see that in a bit. Okay, I'm shuffling in the sideboard, and then we'll see. Or is it another game? Am I sideboarding already or not? Just looked at the clues and tokens and all this stuff. Okay, I guess I'm looking at the sideboard now. It's not gonna shuffle it in. Oh yeah, and also wanna reveal you that knowledge. Well, of course the sweepers are coming in. All of them. Probably because of all the pumps. Yeah. Extra land just because of that. What else? Probably just turning into a control deck at this point. See, I'm bringing in the 25th land, I believe. Harvester is definitely good here. Um, what else? Declarations are obviously good. Snares are good. This build played 2 snares side and 2 cast outs in the main, and probably bringing in ships and saurians. Because first one is flying and it's removal, repeatable removal, and so on. And Soren is basically remove slash life gain and card draw. It's a bit ambitious, but I think it's a fine plan. It's a fine thing to do. Cast out is probably a bit too slow, so swapping it for chip removal or mass removal. Initiates are important because of life gain, but I can take out, well, probably Quellers are pretty underwhelming in this tempo matchup. Scroungers are bad because they just don't block, and I do want to block in this matchup a lot. There's an argument to keep Cast Out because it deals with Always Watching, for example, or with his Gideons if he has any in this build. But it's just a bit on the expensive side against a deck with which is full of 1 and 2 drops. Okay, so 10 definitely out. Then, yeah, rebukes are bad. So, and that build played 2 main. So those 2 are out. So we have now, what is it, 12? I think I need this 1 more here because I only kept 2 cards in the side that I'm not bringing in. Okay, taking out at least 1 Heart of Curing. Okay, because yeah, again, this build had 4, and okay, he has removal, but it's not. It's often not instant speed, so it's stuff like Declaration, which don't exactly touch Heart, but Heart is actually one of the better cards in the matchup. But it probably does become a bit worse when I take out Scroungers, for example. Alright. My friend here on the left with red white didn't quite show what he was boarding in, but I imagine some ways to, generate value and extra spot removal. Any extra harness lightnings, magma sprays, which actually become worse, but you never know. You never know. In this matchup, blue-white can go either way. It can either keep the speed up or slow down and become more controllish. But removal really wouldn't hurt that much here. Removal actually wouldn't hurt that much here. Alright, his turn 1 is the guy that makes everything, well, not everything, but makes 1 creature per turn haste. Yeah, that's a human. Okay, here's an Inspector. Does he have a second land? Okay, my turn 1 was a Toolcraft. Apparently, oh yeah, I kept him in. I'm not sure why. I don't think I should have. Perhaps no, Scroungers was worse. Spell Cooler also not that great. Rebuke wasn't good. What else I took out? Okay, maybe I should have kept those cast outs, but on the other hand, this way I get an early blocker, which is not amazing right now. Well, plus it's also a quick race, something like that. I don't know, but probably I shouldn't have kept it in. probably should have just kept the inspectors, I think. Well, and this kind of draw, of course, is good because I followed up Toolcraft with double inspector, so yeah. It's kind of a hard scene to absorb when on red-white unless you have some pump like watching or Gideon or something like that. Okay, looks like he cracked a clue here. And didn't hit his third lands. Stayed off because, well, he's not really attacking here. I can afford to attack into this, of course. But yeah, it's pretty bad to... I don't think he should have blocked here. Maybe he thinks with his sideboard slow plan he can get out of this game. And just doesn't want to take too much early damage. Though both decks have initiates, but it doesn't mean they will stick in play for that long. Okay, here's the captain and pass. Yeah, pretty unexciting draws. Yeah, I am just like eating my banana and drawing an extra card, and yeah, let's see. Do I have anything turn 4? Well, heart is not that amazing on turn 4. Still probably okay. Okay, here's an initiate that actually crews that up. So now he doesn't really have good attacks. Now he actually doesn't have good attacks. So how can he get out of this? Because this hard like threatens to take over the game very quickly. Okay, he attacks with the captain, which is kind of weird. Because I grew up and block with the heart. So heart is still there. Alright, so the sweltering suns just happened. Because if I would have had the selfless there, that would be that would look much better, but I didn't, and that was just a proxy of initiate. So everything went to the bin. Okay, well, I was expecting something like Harness Lightning or Magma Spray, but did not expect this kind of thing to happen. Okay, another captain. The good part is about Suns in this deck because he can always cycle it later if it feels like it's not gonna be good, and if you have a good aggressive start. Okay, he's cycling a cast out. Not sure I would have done that. He still has a clue to, try to find land number 4 or something. But I think his hand was like 5 mana drops, like Waterbringer and things. Alright, now we're hard. That I don't currently have food for. Okay, here's a Glorybringer. Oh no, it's the Handwear. The red drop that melts with the land. Handwear Battlements. I believe that's the name. So, let's see. Let's see what's happening here. I think that's his own Gideon. Is that it? Or not? So what did he cast here? I know that was always watching, right? So I'm taking in a lot of damage here, actually. I guess now I have to pull the trigger on the Fumigate. I took some extra damage. Luckily, watching doesn't pump the token, so it was still just 5 damage. But yeah, if let's say he played some creatures that turn, I would have been rewarded for the patience and not pulling the trigger on the Fumigate that early. Okay, now just the captain. Okay, but here's the Sorin that will just, stabilize the game very nicely. I did have Heart in play, so I got the black mana off of the Spires. So that was a good way to draw those cards. It was a good way to draw those cards. So, what does he have to say? Gideon. Okay, that's not too bad, but I'll be able to kill Gideon soon, I think. Actually, I already have a way on board to kill it. I can just corrupt the heart with the Sorin and then use Sorin to finish off Gideon. I decided to plus Sorin. Interesting why. Okay, because I had the flagship. So let's put the Gideon down to 2, and then I can just use the Sorin to crew the heart to finish it off, or do something else. Plus, if Gideon sticks on board for one more turn, that's fine, because he was kind of like forced to plus Gideon so that it wouldn't straight away die to the heart. Okay, I can actually, crew up this Gideon to kill of his. Yeah, with 9 lands on board and this kind of position, there's just nothing he can do. I went into a control mode. I got slightly flooded, but it paid off with all these trump cards. So yeah, a lot of value, a lot of removal, a lot of ways to attack. Pretty happy, what can I say? It's gonna try to rumble for a little bit, but if I would see this kind of position, I would just quickly scoop it up. Because I don't see how you can get out of this. Okay, I think that's just a second watching and that's it. Of course, something like Glorybringer will do some things, but actually have flying blockers that I can present on his turn. Okay, meanwhile he's also taking damage from the Soaring pluses. Okay, here's a spawner that will animate the heart or the ship. Well, actually the ship, because then I use planeswalkers to animate the heart. And do I have lethal? Yeah, it's lethal, like multiple ways, because I have something like to animate the ship, animate the heart with, let's say, Sorin, then animate Gideon, and just like bash, 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 bash. So yeah, he had a pretty decent hand actually with double Glorybringer and another Gideon, but then what he had, so he didn't play it because it would just immediately die. He had a Declaration Stone that just wouldn't do it here. So yeah, let's just say that when there are a lot of decks like this around in the format still, and not just zombies, but or red green, for example. Yeah, this deck could have decent red green matchup. Or let's say you could just hit the Glory Bringer on curve on time. That could be devastating for any vehicles, Gideon deck. Okay, so siding out. Okay, it seems like he brought a couple of those suns, or just one. Okay, he brought by force, it seems. Okay, 3 Glory Bringers, really? Wow. 1 suns or more? Perhaps he only brought just 1, but had 2 in the sideboard. I don't know. Okay, he brought at least 1 Gideon. Possibly brought in the cast out, or they were main deck. Well, I explained and showed to you how I sideboarded, so let's pay a bit more attention to how he boarded. Okay, there was the second Suns. Okay, and at least 2 Gideons. Was that it? Okay, he brought in another land, a cast out. Yeah, he needs those to be able to cast those Gloorbringers. Okay, so he actually brought in 3 lands, but I think the plan was that he swaps some of the basics or something like that in favor of the Spires. So he probably just takes out a couple of basics or hubs or something like that. So he probably goes up 1 land. I think that's his plan. I believe that's his plan. Probably has like 1 Spires main, I suppose. So, is he gonna show it? Oh, okay, sorry. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Until the next sale, goodbye.